What's going on, y'all? It's Greg. Greg said it. In this fast moving football season, y'all, it's officially fall now. Who would have thought? You're no longer in fall camp, you're actually in fall. And before we know it, y'all, we just blink a little bit. We're going to be at the halfway point of the season. Very soon. We're going to game 5 out of 12. Imagine that. We've already done 4 games. Somehow, we have done 4 games, whole games. And through all, it's like life is so much drama going on. Sometimes you can't really catch the details of life. You just look up and time is gone because you're so engrossed. We've been so involved with this QB battle and figuring out, is Colorado going to be any good? Is the coaches need to go? That boom, we here. We at BYU. We done went to Georgia Tech. We done went through Delaware. We done went through Houston, Wyoming, and here we are. And then right around the corner, we have TCU. We have Iowa State. And really, I think West Virginia may be right behind that. But these are some of the bigger games. These are some of the bigger ranked teams. You don't have to play Texas Tech this year. And later on, you have a little, see what it's still looking like. You have Arizona State. I don't know what Kansas State gonna look like, but you don't play Kansas, I don't believe. So it's like, I don't know what these teams are gonna look like later. I know some of these teams have started off very strong, and it's just a matter of time before, like everywhere else, you start beating up on each other. And that's gonna kill a lot of rankings, and that's gonna create that annual feud that you see where it's like the battle of the Big 12, because, everybody's gonna beat up on each other. You probably won't have 1 or 2 losses, whatever, because, the team who's doing well eventually loses to somebody that they may or may should have beat, may or may not should beat, but you don't know until the end. And it's going to be interesting because at the end, Colorado's going to have to go across Arizona State. They got their running quarterback, and they can throw pretty decent. So the defense pretty decent. The thing about Colorado that is a problem, very inconsistent. Colorado can be just as good as anybody for a good quarter, maybe a half. On the front end or the back, you just don't know. And it's really been that way. It's not just this year. It's the nature of Colorado. Maybe it's the culture up on the Coach Prime. Maybe it's how they practice. I've gave you my theories. The practice is an hour a pop. You already complaining about the kids not want to do the extra work where they're not watching the film, because that's the only way they're going to get in, because you can't make them do it, because you only have 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week that you can be directly involved. So unless you're going to be like the guys who we see in the NFL, the Shadors, you see Travis, Jimmy, all those guys, they work hard outside. You seen them well off. Outside of the practice time, they did extra work. They got together. And that's what made the difference. These guys want to do that. I don't know if Salter's going to be that kind of leader. I mean, I seen him talk at the end of the game. He said, I really don't like to talk that much, or something like, I'm not a talker. You got to be a talker. That's one thing the quarterback is a talker. A lot of talking. Because you're leading. You're calling the plays. You got the cadence. You got everything. It's like you have to be a communicator. And I hope we get past that, because they need to communicate more to make up for ground. Lost ground. Maybe because so many of them are new. He been in the QB battle. They've been trying to figure out who it is all the way up to this week, who's going to lead the team. It's never been official. So the inconsistency is not just on the offensive side of the ball, it's on the defensive side of the ball. Isn't it funny? I and some others, we thought that the defense was going to be the strength of the team. We swore up and down that the defense was going to be just aggressive and flying around. We had these new linebackers who just, they lean, but they get to the ball. They can read better than the last set of linebacker or two. The defensive line has depth. Secondary has depth. I mean, we really thought we had it. And to our surprise, one of the weaknesses of the team is the defense. I thought it was in the beginning until I started hearing Coach Prime like, we know who's going to be starting on our offensive line, but we don't really know on the defense. And I thought that was like, is it just very competitive? Or is it, the tone seemed negative. I just didn't see it. But it appears that the defense is the one who has to figure it out and taking longer to, whatever. I don't know. And they had a slow start last year, but they also had Block Bully in the middle. They also had Hill Green in the middle. Veterans, pretty solid, stable. Block Bully didn't get pushed around. He demanded a double or triple team, depending on how you're trying to move him. And that really had an impact. It would have been nice. He had a little more help and a little more depth. Barnes was still developing. So it's like, didn't have a lot of linebacker depth, and that was a problem, especially when Hill Green decided not to play in the bowl game. So it's not really new to see the tackling problems at all. It's not really new to see busted assignments from the rooter to the tutor. It's like defensive linemen spinning and flipping around in the gap, getting washed all the way over to the next man, not staying their ground. And then you look at linebackers who just runs to a hole. It's got to be taught. I just believe at this point I don't see enough other all 22 to know. They telling them go to the gap, forget reading. They're not teaching them to read. And they just take off running away from the ball. The ball go that way. They just running after a man, or they just running after a space. And so that's been going on. But on top of all of that, the negative, just as unpredictable as they could be on a negative, Colorado's dangerous. And I said this before, because if they show up, now they ain't showed up a full game, probably ever, even when Shador was there. We can play a full game. You can play good half. I don't know if they played a good half this year. I've seen them play a good quarter. For example, last game, they shut the run down from the drop. Boom, boom. After halftime, Wyoming just ran all over. Little 170-pound running back. And it's not like you ain't been stopping them. Then you just decide not to stop them. What would change? You know what to do. It's not like you never done it. You did it, and then all of a sudden you just stopped. And I think we've seen that before. We've seen them not finish games. We've seen it at UCF. They pretty much dominated it. We couldn't stop UCF. You gonna stop Harvey, all these big quarterbacks. You ain't gonna stop them. That was the guaranteed game for them to lose because of the type of running back, and they stopped them. Then they got to the end. They just let them cut loose when they was winning. They never really been dumb, like Coach Prime said. They don't know how to stick the dagger in there. They don't know how to finish nobody. And that's with Shador, without Shador. It's got to be a cultural thing. And it's been that. They don't know how to go and put 60 on nobody. Even when they should, they'll go and put 30, 40 on them. You're not seeing them go and dog them out like how we seen with Indiana did Illinois. It's like, it be Illinois like a little JV team. That's how you got to be. When you got them, you got them. I remember Oregon did that to Colorado a couple years back. It's like, they're just relentless, man. They'll put up 40 points in a quarter, you let them. Colorado won't do that. They can. And that goes back to what I was saying. I said from the very beginning when Salter came, when we figured who he was, and we saw the film, even back in the beginning of the year, before the beginning of the year, I said, man, this is going to make Colorado very similar and competitive in this conference, but make them very dangerous, especially what they said they had some decent tight ends. We already knew we had receivers. Running backs decent. It's hard to watch and scheme and kind of take advantage of weaknesses when you have such a wide spread offensively. And that's what bothered me about Salter. Some people say, oh, he played good. He didn't play that wrong. He didn't play that good either. Because it's a high expectation for him. I mean, he's considered a quote-unquote Heisman-worthy quarterback. I mean, from the year he had a couple years back and playing Oregon and all that at a lower level school, technically. And it's like a smaller program. And when you see a guy, it's okay, all he needs is opportunity, big stage, weapons. If he brought what he had, then he could be amazing, because how do you account for him? And we kind of seen that this week for the first time. Now, you can come up with every excuse on why we didn't see it before. It was very lackluster. Yeah, he was scoring, but he wasn't all the way there. And I know he's supposed to sit the first game, whatever. But even so, they know something we don't. They watch practice. It's a bit of nonchalantness. And I say he got a little fire up on it, and that's what he did. I believe that. And it's a piece, laid back people like that typically need that. Calm, chill. He need it. Probably need more. Not necessarily benching, but just that push. Because if that boy, if he plays like he can, people make comments and people like blow it off like, oh, they'll be hard to beat. They can beat anybody. That would be true. Because he's an X factor. If he had played like he played this week, as I said before, at the Georgia Tech game, they would have beat him. Georgia Tech had a very similar quarterback. They won because of their quarterback, not because they're so talented. It's because even other weapons become even more potent. Sincere Brown becomes more potent. Amarion Miller becomes more potent. Joseph Williams and everybody else you put out there, even the running game, Price and Taylor. Well, whoever you put in that, they become more potent because you really watching Salter. You got spies on him and everything. Because, yeah, he's doing the fake. You watching him. So you can't really key in on that running back because he can pull it. And it's almost like you need a head start to get to him because he's going to slip right by you. And once he do that enough, you kind of have to take a little eyes off of other folks that you need to be watching to watch him. So if you worry about Salter sneaking out the backfield, see, this is the thing. The way we seeing, which we knew, that we seeing sincere the way he runs, you better have some help over the top. I've been saying, like Randy Moss, you better have some help over the top. He's too fast and he tall. He ain't even really took advantage of the size difference yet. Just running past people. People need help. They ain't gonna put you one-on-one out there with him, right? Then you got Amarion. There ain't too many people covering him one-on-one ever. Since he was a freshman, it's hard to cover him one-on-one. So you got him. You got somebody strong in the slot, tight end, whatever. Running backs who can come out the backfield, running backs who can run. And then at the same time, you like, whew. Typically, the quarterback's supposed to be the least athletic, and he one of the most. He get in open field and just keep running for 30, 40, 50 yards on you. All because you got to keep an eye on those big-time receivers and watch for the big play. You ain't giving a big play. In return, you giving up 30-yard runs. So he's not just getting first downs. He's eating up yards. He's eating up clock. When Salter brings that element to the game, that's what Coach Brown was trying to say. He was timid about running. He was indecisive. And he very well could have been sick. But if he playing like he played at the college level, they don't have no answer for him. He's a grown man. He's a fifth-year guy. He's a talent. It's hard for these boys to defend that. Especially, you don't have the weaponry. Unless you were a top-tier team, you don't have a weaponry to cover all that. And that's when you start to outmatch people. Because you don't even put Salter out in open field against anybody one-on-one. He's going to put a move on. He's going to run past him. Especially a linebacker. You got your skill guys in coverage. If he get outside that tackle box, the end ain't run him down. Unless he Javon Curse or somebody. And we know where he going in the draft. You're not running him down. And the linebacker, he's not going to get him. Salter put a move on him, everything open field. It's a problem. So Salter is the X factor. And that's what makes him dangerous because that's not predictable. That's different. And it made it even more different by acting like they didn't know who they were going to put in and stall into the fourth week to kind of give you a glimpse of who they really have. So it's like, now they got to go back to the drawing board. Now we know who's going to be quarterback, but how do we defend them? We don't have 3-4 weeks of film with him. We were at Liberty, different offense. I don't know. He opens up your offense playbook. He makes your playmakers way more potent because now he's a problem. You turn your back on him, he gone. And if you mess around and act like you worry about him, he gonna bomb you over your head. He can throw the ball on 1 foot, 70 yards. No doggone fundamentals, He throwing the ball off his back foot 70 yards in the air, overthrowing everybody. So it's not like you can be like, oh, he's just a runner. We, keep him in front of us, come up and get him. And he not gonna approach that line, he drop it right over your head like he did to Sincere Brown. That's dangerous. You can't really come up on him because he can throw the ball really, really far. And you can't stay back because he can take off and before you know it, it's 30, 40 yards. It's gonna be hard to deal with. Nobody got that down pat. Not a BYU, not a TCU, not I owe you, I you, whatever. None of these people got it. That's what everybody's weakness. That's why these running quarterbacks are so dangerous in the college football. And they really becoming more, now they're allowing it, dangerous in the NFL. Because he wants to be a pocket packer. Look what they did to Vic. Vic was tearing people up. They were mad. You need to stay in the pocket because you can't stop him running. It's like unfair. It's like playing 7-on-7 with a running quarterback. It's like, darn, everybody in coverage. And the only person left is that middle linebacker who's probably the least talented people. That's why you got him there. Now you got to put your talented people in the box. Try to go sideline to sideline with this doggone freak athlete at quarterback. He going to beat you by himself. He going to drop back. Everybody run off. And dare somebody be athletic enough to match him. That's what running quarterbacks do. All that space people don't recognize on the football field, just never green grass. And you got, if you see smart and athletic, he got a lot of different lanes he can take that he can leverage based off of what some silly person do on that line, go in the wrong hole, trying to be a superhero, come too far upfield, he gone. Boom. And now you're dealing with speed and angles and reading. And somebody gonna mess up on that eventually. And if they do the right thing, are they athletic enough to go get him? That's where they are. So it's two things here. You got a very inconsistent team that if they were to able to figure out how to make less mistakes and be more consistent, I don't know what that would take. If they can figure out how to be more focused, more consistent, less penalties, they can make a run. Flaws and all. Now the referees show how foolish they can be and throw back-to-back penalties in my year of the 2023 Colorado. That's how they kept doing them in check when they was about to make a run. Penalties, 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 penalties. Most penalized team in America, you telling a joke, hey, y'all are so undisciplined. You the one throwing the flag. You ain't throwing it at the same rate for the same reason as the other people, on the other team that we playing. So what we're really dealing with. That's still a thing. I told y'all that's still a thing. And they showed you they willing to do it. In certain games, you ain't gonna better keep giving people third downs like a BYU. You can keep giving them third downs. You finally stop these boys. It's a dog fight, and they just keep giving you penalties as if you just keep. Everybody else doggone bumping in. You watching everybody else play on Saturday. And they ain't throwing them flags, especially if they keep throwing off the game. You throwing off the game by throwing these lopsided flags. If you're not going to throw it both ways, just leave it alone. He ain't pulled the man to the ground and took his jersey off his head. They bumping, they both pushing, and then you throw the flag on him. And you do it once, twice, 3 times. So that's still a thing. I don't think they done. Night games and all that type of stuff, knowing they don't typically play as well, I guess they make that adjustment. It's clearly the fix is in. They have to play very well, and they're going to have to overcome a lot to beat these teams. But they have the tools and resources to do it if they find a way to lock in and be consistent in all phases of the game, but especially in the areas they're weak. When it comes to tackling and assignments on the defense side of the ball, it ain't that complicated. Watch freaking film, practice, do what y'all need to do. Y'all too old, y'all been playing too long. It ain't that hard. But we will see. I'm just Greg said to make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.